Hey everybody on here, and I'm coming to you with this month's video. And this month, for the month coming up in April, our codes are going to lead us a lot to looking at teams and teamwork. And just for those, if you don't know me, if you're not familiar with your work, what I do is I create this book every year, and it's called The Code Journey. There's a new edition. It's like a spiritual almanac, so it tells you all about different kinds of influences and things that are happening in the world, but it's also a personal growth sort of tool to use to learn more about you, to unfold things that you deal with, to step more into yourself. A lot of people use it to build their relationship with God as well as other things. And that's what I do, and and work with people and put up media content and things like that. But if you like this, by the way, subscribe and click like. I always forget to say that. Okay, so this month coming up in April, our codes and the energies that are present, we have a big influence coming in on teamwork. And I thought, wow, I haven't done anything on teamwork in quite a while, and that would be a really good topic maybe to cover, because part of our codes is people are going to have to start working with one another here. As things go down in the world, we're not in easy times, but we're in magnificent times right now. And it's amazing. It's really amazing when you think about it, what we're living through, what we're going through in the world, and everything that's happening. So, considering that, we're going to continue to have things happening in the world, and at some point, we're going to say, can we work with one another, or at least being knowing who is on our team and who isn't on our team. That helps, right? If you're playing a ball game or something, if you don't know who's on your team and you're passing stuff to the wrong person, then, you're not going to be very successful there. You're not going to make the scores and the advancements that you need to make in there. Um, so teams are important, but I want to talk about some things that maybe we don't think about in regards to teams, because I know some people out there, they think, oh, I don't need to know about teams. I'm a loner. I'm introspective. I am self-employed. I don't I don't really deal with teams. So, I don't need to listen. Well, you might want to listen, because, I'm going to cover some things that apply to you as well. It's not just about working in a group of people. That's only one dynamic to teamwork. So when we start to look at this and we look from a code perspective, what is teamwork? Well, teamwork is really about individuals, ironically, and not necessarily a group of people. And matter of fact, teamwork often comes about through people who have been outcast from other groups. And that's, again, something that not a lot of us think about, not a lot of us give a lot of attention to or consider. But it also comes about, and you find out oftentimes who uh, is willing to do the teamwork for you and with you. For example, when you get sick. Sick is a big thing, and it's actually connected to this teamwork aspect. It's part of how you find out who your team is. When you pushed yourself too far, when you find that you're laid up in bed. So whether you're a loner, whether you live with people, whether you have a spouse or a family or nobody or whatever, you're going to find out pretty darn quick who's there, who's going to come through for you. And so illness oftentimes, ironically, now that can, we can say that's physical illness, and that's going to come up a lot in our codes in April, as well as needing to take care of our health. Who supports you in taking care of your health? Who is willing to say, look, go take a day off before you get sick, and be honest about it with you, and to not push you and to say, hey, yeah, I really could use your help on this. But you know what? If you're that drained and you're that worn down, go take a day, go get some rest, and let's schedule for a couple of days from now when you're, a little bit stronger and you've had a chance to restore a little bit. And that's powerful. I think, some of the best people on my team, I have to say, are the people who do just that, who actually say, look, just take the night off. And they know me. They know because, or I'll try to do that, and of course, that's the night that I get 5 people in crisis, and I've gotta just be there for them. Um, but it's very, very important, and teamwork can be a physical team, it can be a human team, it could be working, even our animals, our pets. Some of you, you have pets, you're single, right? You've got teamwork that goes on with them. They're there for you to help you when you're not feeling well. They're there for you in the transitions, in the challenges. Again, this is where teamwork really emerges because it's got this spiritual root to it. Some people may consider teamwork really an ethereal an ethereal factor, working with angels, working with God, doing teamwork that way. And when we're doing it that way, that's more of honoring our processes, honoring God's will, honoring the forward momentum, letting go of our will, trusting that every time that we get pulled out of a situation or pushed out of a situation, that that's really a divine intervention in a lot of ways, and that is helping us to try to move more onto the soul path, or towards God's will in things. As a team or teams plural, looking at those particular things, we have the codes that a team is interesting because um, a lot of times we get people and they're so suspicious of each other. And an individual team can do that. They can create this suspicion between individual members. Are they going to do their job? Are they handling things? Are they taking care of things? What are they up to? Are they stealing my idea? And in many ways, that's actually not so much a team. When we get to the true team dynamic, now that's a team in its distorted sense. But when we get to the true team dynamic, then we're really looking at people who can sit in their individual position and they can look at things objectively. They're willing to listen and observe from each other's point of view and to understand what the other person is seeing. So, right, if you're working on a project with people, right, and one person handles marketing and one person's handling all the technical programs and the website and all of those sorts of things, and somebody else is handling customer service and somebody else is handling something else. And it's very easy for us to get locked into our individual perspectives and to say, well, you know, from a technical aspect, from the computer functioning program, this is the way to do it. And then you've got the customer service people saying, yeah, but that's not very user friendly. Have you ever tried to use it as a customer without your technical knowledge and background? And then you've got the marketing people in there going, oh yeah, but it's just not pretty enough for marketing. I get that it's functional, but it doesn't work for what people want to see. It's not going to draw anybody in, or things like this. But when we start to learn those different perspectives and we start to see what other people are seeing, that's when we can come to the true solutions. And so we're really not working against each other. We're really not being suspicious of each other. We're really helping each other to say, yeah, I get your aspect there, but could we do this? Because from a marketing aspect, if we could do this one thing, if you could create this one thing where they could go in and they could, play around and find out a little piece of information before they, move forward on something to test it out, give a little test run on things, then that would be really great because that would draw a lot of people to our site and we'd get a lot of website traffic. And then one idea stimulates another idea and then stimulates another idea in there. And it's like the customer service people saying, if we could just have that information page on there, and maybe we could get some questions answered on there, or maybe we want to drive people personally. So we don't want to put up all kinds of information because we want to deal with them face to face. We want to deal with them in a personal interaction, or maybe we need to have both because some people, they want to find their own stuff out, and then other people want something more personalized. So again, as we each start to share these individual points of view and we step into the shoes of the other positions, even if we don't know it a lot, start to see things from their perspective. Now we have a true team that, as long as we're holding integrity with each other, can generate a lot of success. in things. Now, when we look at teams plural, and this happens a lot, right? Because you have, again, you have, your networking team, and you have your marketing team, and you have your PR team, and you have your customer service team, and you have your CEO team, or, there's always there can be multiple teams, right? If you're in sports, you have multiple teams, right? You have your college teams, and you have your pro teams, and junior teams and high school teams, and all these different teams in there. And teams, plural, are also very interesting. Of course, when we look at things from our personal lives, those teams are not related necessarily to the business world. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. When we look at having multiple teams in our life, we might have a support team. We might have like an emotional support team. We might have a friends team that we go out and do things with, so a social team. We might have a family team that is comprised of family members. We might have, uh, community team. There can be that business team for us that's going to help us on all the business stuff. There's going to be our spiritual team that might be comprised of a lot of different spiritual people, or again, it might be comprised of the ethereal spiritual people in there, or God, or wherever you're at, depending on your path and what you're focused on. But when we generate teams in a multiple component where we have multiple teams going on beyond just the one individual team, we actually open up unconditional love. And that's a really interesting, powerful component, I think, to think about. It's a really interesting piece to delve into. And that's where we really start to find out who's there for us. When you have multiple teams, you're going to have somebody who's going to be there for you in the good times and the bad times. Whereas if you have just one, they might not be. They may not always be there when times get tough, or they may say, hey, you're not producing enough success, so you're off the team. You no longer have one. So teams play this incredibly important role, and they also bring a lot of peace. They bring a lot of peace into our life when we're talking about it on this more personal, individualized level in there, because what they're there to do is we know that somebody's going to have our back. We know that somebody is going to be there working with us directly, like a partnership, like a true partnership would be. We know that they're working with us because they love and they care about us when we're dealing with these multiple teams. And when we look at that peace factor, I mean, think about it. If I have people covering things that I'm not strong in, that's going to give me a lot of peace, as long as I'm not totally dependent on them for things. But if I know that they're going to get stuff covered, then I'm definitely going to have a lot more peace about doing something, doing a workshop. If I do a workshop someplace and I know that that store or that location that I'm going to, they've already taken care of the facilities, and they've already taken care of the people that are coming, and they've already taken care of whatever else, the setup in there. That gives me a lot of peace, because then I can step in and do my job. And this is a big component when we look at teamwork, is that everybody's got their place. Everybody's got their value on that team. And of course, I'm going to have the people, again, emotionally supporting me along the way, wishing me good luck as I go into things, wanting to know how it is afterwards. Those people are just as important. Our support systems are just as important as the people executing different components and pieces on our teams. With teamwork, there's no hierarchies. And that's, if we have a true teamwork component, a lot of people, what they experience with teams is this component of one person dictates who's going to do what, and that's it, end of story. And you've got a metric to meet, and that's done. And that's what most people's experiences are with that. But if we're really dealing in true teamwork, if we're really dealing with this true team essence, there's no hierarchy. So it's not like the tech team is better than the marketing team, is better than the customer service team, or better than the emotional support team, whatever. Uh, they all play an incredibly important role. And, I know there's people out there, they're going to argue and say, oh, well, but the tech team, you can't do anything without the tech team. Well, that's fine. But if nobody ever sees what the tech team creates, guess what? It doesn't matter what the tech team creates in there. So, no hierarchies. And if we're in true teamwork, this is a good thing because everybody holds value. Everybody holds a place, a position, a thing that they're kind of an expert in, if you want to say that that's their forte, their area of expertise. And what we want to do is know what is ours, what is our place on the team, and what is the expertise of other people on the team, right? Because when you need something, you need to know who to go to, right? Do I go to the software technical person? Do I go to the graphic design person? Do I go to, who do I go to when I need this question answered in things? So knowing, what my expertise is, knowing what other people's expertise is, helps me in building that team because then I know who can I rely on, who else do I need to bring in, where are their strengths. When I've got a question about things, who do I go to? And we all have it. We all have our place and our position. Again, none above the other, none below the other. They're all valid and important in there. Teams, if it's a true team, also will support individuals. And this is a component that a lot of people miss because they don't normally get that experience when they're part of a team. Usually, a lot of times, people believe that they have to sacrifice their own individuality, their own individual style or way of doing things for the whole, right? We hear that a lot. You've got to give up yourself for the whole. And that's not true at all, actually. If you have a really strong team, they want you strong as an individual because the stronger you are as an individual, the stronger that team is going to become. And the more that we build each other's strengths up, again, the more our team can do, the more that we have the potential for in things. And so if we support and honor having personal successes, now what we're doing is we're getting out of being metric focused and we're getting into being um, experience focused. And that's where we get the really powerful successes and the results. It's not in focusing on the metrics, it's in focusing on the experiences that we're having in the process of attempting to meet the metrics. So the metrics actually become secondary. And when we do this, we actually will create stronger results. We'll create stronger successes in this process. And so, what do I mean by this? Encouraging these personal successes. This is about providing some learning opportunities. And if we're a really good team, we will allow people. We shouldn't necessarily force them to do it, but if we truly are on a team, we will allow people to go and learn and experience the different areas and again come to understand them because when we come to understand them again we can actually do our job better if we do that. And if we're weak in an area and we come to understand other areas, then we also can sometimes back it up depending on what it is. We can step in and lend a helping hand when it's needed. And again, that's that unconditional love. If we're really working with each other and somebody says, "Hey, I'm going under today and my workload is piled, I could use a couple of extra hands over here." Great. And what we do is then allow for these experiences for personal growth. We allow these opportunities to learn new things, to explore new opportunities. And sometimes when people do that, they go, man, what am I doing in marketing? I would much rather be in this customer service or vice versa. Um, and that again, that strengthens our capabilities as a team. It strengthens us to work, work with each other in different areas. It's the same thing as if you had one person cooking all the time in your household, and if somebody else is allowed to learn, well, if that person can't cook one night, you've got a backup, right? You've got somebody that can step in and do a meal. If they learn the basics, they may even be able to just do things from time to time that are fun, that add to the other things or take the pressure off of the person who does the cooking all the time. Even if that's their forte and they love what they're doing, they might want a break once in a while. We all do. You know, I love my work, but I still like to take a break once in a while and just get away and see some new things or, try something different. And um, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. But I am always strengthening myself in that process. And if I strengthen myself, then of course I can shine God's light a little bit more in the world. And I can, you know, be there for others as well more. So there's a lot that comes out of nourishing that personal success and strengthening the individual. So a true team cares about its individuals. They don't want to see one of their individuals go down. Certainly, again, we want to have those backups in case somebody does, but that being said, hopefully we can keep them strong enough and supported enough and cared for enough that they don't go down in the process. And a true team is like that. A true team is like, hey, I've got extra energy tonight. I'm feeling great. And, my plans were canceled. You're looking really worn down. You're really tired. I can see it. I know you've had some rough things going on. Take the rest of the shift off and I'll cover you. That's teamwork. That's caring about the individual. Again, we don't want to push them out the door, and there's always layers to that, right? Whether somebody can afford to do that or not, have that time. But in reality, what it comes down to is there's no competition, and that's huge. We need to get rid of that competition. And sadly, too many organizations have put competitive structures into things, and it actually diminishes the quality of working people a lot of times. It diminishes things. It pushes people to work against each other instead of with each other. And we need to come back to working with one another in things and finding that place. Because here again, if you have a church and one person is left to do everything, it's not going to work out very well. If one person is supposed to carry the whole load, it's not going to work out. You need supporting people, you need lead people, you need all kinds of things. And just because somebody's a lead person, again, doesn't make them more important than the supporting people and things. So when we remove that competition, we strengthen our team. We strengthen ourselves. We strengthen our team. We strengthen our ability to do the work that we're doing in the world. Also, teams help us to see what we need to see. So if they're a true team, they're going to come to us and they're going to say, I noticed this and it doesn't seem like it's flowing very well. Or I noticed that, you guys are doing things in this format, but have you thought about some other things? Because it seems like your team that you're overseeing is getting really burned out. And that's not a good thing. I think we need to rethink some things, restructure some things, so they're not afraid to speak up and tell you something. And if we understand and we're working in the dynamics of a true team, we won't take offense to that because we will understand that they are actually truly trying to help us out and trying to get us to see something that maybe we're missing. If we're really on that team, it's like, wow, I never noticed that. I'm right in the middle of it. And I never noticed that. Or I didn't realize that, man, every time I get on video, my nose starts itching for whatever reason. I do notice that, but it's one of those components that they can help us to see some of the things that we might be missing. And again, that just helps us to strengthen ourselves. It helps us to come more into who we are, what we can do, open dynamics up, and to get things really flowing even better in there. And then again, each person learning from the other people on their teams what they need. And when we do that, that also allows us to help them get stronger. So if I know that the tech team needs me to have anything in, any corrections or changes in by Wednesday, then great, I can do that because if I wait and give it to them on Friday when they're going to go away for the weekend and I give it to them at 4 o'clock, nothing's going to get done. Well, let's face reality. It's not going to happen. It's not going to get done. And they're burned out and they're not receptive and it's just going to piss them off. So if I understand, hey, it really helps them out if I get all my requests in by Wednesday, then that's a good that's a good place because then I can make that team stronger because then they're not going to be upset, burned out, stressing all weekend, and coming in and trying to do things from a unwilling space or whatever it is in there. And so learning what they need. And when we learn what other people need, then we can contribute to helping things flow for them, for making things better. Um, it would just be like that thing I know one place that I remember being at, and the marketing team was always in this crunch, late on Friday and Thursday or Friday. I can't remember what, but they were always in this crunch on things, and so I did a little bit of restructuring so that I could free some people up to help them out. And when I did that and I freed people up to help them out, all of a sudden all the pressure came off. Sometimes they didn't need it. They were able to get through things. But what I did was I in that restructuring, I built a great relationship with that marketing team. So if there was anything I needed, they were certainly more prone to do it for me than some other people. It also gave them that comfort and that ease that, hey, if I really need somebody, I'm going to do it. Well, if they're regularly needing things, instead of me being put in a bad position because all of a sudden I've got to lose team members to go help them, um, then if I account for that and say, okay, I need to leave this open and restructure my schedule a little bit uh, and leave them open, then I can't be damaged by when they need help. And if they don't need help, then great, my team can do something extra during that time or have a little bit of a break during that time, which is always kind of nice at the end of the week. Um, so that's kind of some ideas about teamwork in there. And another big component that comes in April is our health and our well-being. And teamwork can be a big, big part of contributing to us being healthy and being in that space of well-being. And that's, I think, very, very important because obviously we can't be there for the team that we're part of or be there for other people if we're not doing okay ourselves. And so, um, doing that again, that teamwork, it adds to it. It takes the pressure off. If we know that other people have their job covered in things, um, then we can honor a healthier lifestyle. And likewise, if they know that they can rely on us, then they too can. And if we're in a healthier space, if we're, you know, got our physical bodies doing well and we're standing strong that way, then we can be stronger on the team. So there you go. That's my component. And all I can say is, go out there, take some time to reflect who's on your team, who has your back, who's your network of people in there. And again, even if you're on your own, like I'm on my own. I do it all. I don't have a tech team. I don't have a marketing team. I don't have all of those things. I do it all myself. But even that being said, I do have a team of people around me that I can go to for different things, and that's a very, very critical. When I have certain needs, I can go to people, and so I consider them part of my team, and that is so important to know. It's so important to know who's standing with you along the way. So there you go. Take care, everybody, and I will be back with you next month in the month of April.